This video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Right, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel and welcome to the week. Welcome to Monday. Today, I want to start off by pointing at something that I think we need to be aware of, a little bit of situational awareness for the stock market. And then I got a whole heap of bullish Bitcoin stuff to share with you guys. If you are one of the followers that tunes in every day, you will remember me pointing at a setup that occurred in 2007. And I was saying we have to be on guard if we don't get a nice quick and sharp flush into a daily cycle low for the stock market. Now, if I zoom in a little bit here, back in 2007, we had this July top and a sharp sell-off. And of course, in 2024, we saw a very similar thing occur. We got a July top, a sell-off as the yen carry trade unwind played out. And then I was pointing at this current daily cycle and saying that if we don't get some kind of sharp sell-off into a cycle low soon, then it's going to have all the familiar characteristics of this 2007 setup right here. And of course, what happened in 2007 was we made something like a day 40 high, then a extended and late daily cycle low around day 46 before a lower high came in, and then that was the top. So if I zoom in on this one final time and just make sure that we can see exactly what I'm talking about, if I grab this low, which corresponds to today's yen carry trade unwind, and measure out, you'll see a high on day 39. Now, we would normally expect to see a cycle low somewhere between day 36 and day 44. And I was saying we have to watch out if we don't get some kind of correction here, something like this, daily cycle low, and then go again, then we would indeed be repeating this thing to the tick. Also notice how that day 39 high forms only marginally above the prior highs here. And then again, we would have this kind of distribution type shape, marginal higher high, lower high, and that's all she wrote. So when we zoom in, okay, first of all, notice we've got this exact same distribution, top, marginal higher high, lower high, roll over, and that could be all she wrote. That's also occurring, remember, with the July top, the sell-off into the yen carry trade unwind. And as of the open today, we are going to be on candle 39. So eerily similar. Notice how this high as well, marginally higher than the prior highs. It's an incredibly similar setup. Now, we've got clear invalidation for the 2007. Okay, if we want to move away from this, if we aren't going to be calling tops here and seeing cycle failure come in and seeing a major top for the markets come in the next few sessions, then we really need to find a quick and sharp flush into a daily cycle low, a nice swing, and then most crucially, we need to print a higher high. If we do not print a higher high, and in fact we print a lower high, or if indeed this thing continues to round, something like this, no clear sign, short bounce, and then something like this, then we will be repeating what we did in 2007 to the tick, right? Day 39 high kind of rounds, short and failed left translated daily cycle. And at that point, we lose all the angles, we break down and we go full bore bear market. So don't get it twisted. I am not calling tops here. I am not calling for that bear market to show up imminently in the next few sessions. All I'm doing is pointing at this scenario once more and saying so far, it's doing the exact same thing it did in 2007. What I am hoping, however, to see is a couple of day flush into a cycle low, perhaps that maybe briefly violates the third angle or better yet holds it, followed by a nice sharp V-shaped swing low pattern, and off we go to new highs. Once we get a new higher high, having had a sell-off, I will be more than happy to say, okay, this no longer looks anything like this top did back in 2007. But again, all we have to do here is not have a sharp sudden drop followed by a swing, and instead round, like I said, lose this third angle, lower high, and continue down. And in this kind of neighborhood, I'll be thinking, okay, that was the top. Okay, so again, not a prediction, not a call. It's just we must be aware of this as a downside scenario, because the temptation here, if we're not aware of this, is to say, okay, buy the dip. Okay, buy the dip. Okay, buy the dip. Buy the dip. Buy the dip. And the dip will just continue to dip. Usually in these types of bear markets and breakdowns, the majority of the market participant doesn't recognize the top is in until somewhere in this neighborhood. That's where you get the panic selling. That's what drives the capitulative move to the lows. And needless to say, if you get out somewhere in this neighborhood, you've actually missed the bulk of the exit. Over in the world of Bitcoin, today marks the day where 16 billion is getting redistributed to the people that lost out in the FTX collapse. They're only going to get a very small percentage of what they're actually owed, but such is the way when companies go bankrupt through chicanery or incompetence. Overall, probably is net bullish, as I would imagine those people are looking to get back into Bitcoin and altcoins. And we can certainly see that the ETF inflows are back. And this time, remember, there is no GBTC to offset the inflows via outflows. So the setup is there under the hood to see some nice price appreciation for Bitcoin. And under the hood, we continue to have a global liquidity breakout here. Again, should be short to medium term bullish for the price of Bitcoin, should be able to catalyze some kind of move to the upside here for Bitcoin. When we zoom out and align the cycles, okay, it's still, despite how much it might feel like the top is in at the moment, relative to prior cycles, is incredibly early and tells me at least to keep an open mind about seeing much higher than expected prices walking forward. And if we use the GMI Bitcoin Cycle Top Finder, this suggests perhaps that there is a long way to go before we are anywhere close to a top, telling me to keep an open mind again about seeing a much higher price than most people can comprehend at this moment in time. There is one major caveat to this that we must pay attention to, okay? This right here looks incredibly similar to this right here. And the Fed, needless to say, has just began cutting rates. The last time we saw the Fed begin cutting rates was back here, and Bitcoin ended up coming off of a 14K high before ultimately printing something like a 3K low. Almost 70% top to bottom, aligned with the prior cutting cycle. And so whilst it is very easy to point at this and say things like, we are nowhere close to a top, which of course could be true. Similarly to the stock market, it is important to maintain the situational and contextual awareness that this time is quite similar to this time right here. And like I said, that was also where we saw rate cuts and Bitcoin's price dive 70%. As ever, the more we can hold these current breakouts, the more we can look to confirm by breaking out the final line of resistance, the more significant the upside move becomes and the more probabilistic the upside move becomes. Some kind of rollover and a flush to new lows here would likely set up a repeat of this situation back here. The structure of Bitcoin relative to gold is currently incredibly similar. Notice how gold puts in this massive cup and handle, okay, before ultimately breaking out and moving to fresh all-time highs. And Bitcoin has done an incredibly similar thing. Massive cup and handle before getting ready potentially to see a breakout to new all-time highs. And speaking of Bitcoin and gold, I want to once again point at this chart. Notice in blue, gold tends to top, and when gold tops, Bitcoin breaks out into price expansion. Same thing here. Gold tops and rolls over. Only after gold tops does Bitcoin finally break out into expansion. Same deal here. Gold tops, Bitcoin finally breaks out of its consolidation into expansion. And right now we are only a couple of weeks away from seeing a major top come in. It could even be less than a couple of weeks, telling me to expect gold's price to have a significant correction into a weekly cycle low soon. And for me, if this thing is to repeat, that should correspond with Bitcoin breaking out of this consolidation and moving to fresh price discovery. Also note these timing arcs down the bottom have historically been very consistent. Okay, they have historically lined up with seeing the top come in for gold and that breakout to price discovery. As it stands right now, we are slightly overdue, telling me to expect this thing to occur in the imminent future. I'm talking potentially no more than 2 to 3 weeks, and I would speculate perhaps even less than that. To illustrate what I expect to see from gold here, I think that's probably the top for the daily cycle. I imagine this trade is going to get taken out for a profit. I think we're probably going to find a daily cycle low in the next few sessions. Somewhere into this green arrow would be day 24. Then I think we get one final squeeze, okay, left translated daily cycle, and that is the top for gold. That top doesn't necessarily have to form a higher high, it could form a lower high, but I do expect this following daily cycle to left translate no later than about day 9 or day 10, and then I think that will mark the top. That will see gold break down towards its weekly cycle low. And again, when we look back at this, it will look something like this, with Bitcoin's price breaking out to fresh price discovery. So a wild time to be alive. I think we are getting closer and closer by the day. And Tony the Bull points out here, last leg up, as this stochastic potentially looks to put in one final spike, could even be on bearish divergence to produce a lower high here, whilst the Bitcoin price puts in one or two monthly candles to the upside. And then I think we will have the tops coming in for Bitcoin and be looking for that extended bear market to come into play. Speaking of Bitcoin, still making a succession of higher highs and higher lows, right? Day 24, so we'll probably be looking for a day 30 cycle low any day now. And then I think we will see that push to the upside. Then I think we can see something akin to this breakout, retest perhaps into that cycle low and resumption off into price discovery, starting to get more and more exciting in this space. I'm noticing a lot of people pointing at altcoins. Some of the altcoins are starting to catch little pumps now. And remember, the best thing about this space is once the herd decides it's bidding season, okay, these markets cover a lot of ground very, very quickly. Silver to me still looks like it's not quite ready to have that breakout. I think it wants that daily cycle low, left translation, and a rollover into the weekly cycle low similar to gold. And as I said, for the stock market, we really need to see a nice sharp sudden drop into a cycle low and go. Otherwise, we're going to have to be entertaining that the top might actually be in here, and it would be pretty sneaky because I don't see anyone calling for tops here, to be honest. It's encouraging to see the VIX getting that 1, 2, 3 candle pop, because that to me says that cycle low is coming, and as that cycle low is found, we should probably expect something like this and go. That's in the bullish scenario. If, however, we are indeed going to be entertaining tops and breakdowns here, then of course that is likely the low for the VIX, and hedges for me will be put on somewhere in this neighborhood. So it's all to play for. It's a wild time to be alive. I do wonder if the dollar is finally about to lose this 100 level. I noticed Powell is speaking today, so maybe he can catalyze this breakdown. Maybe that breakdown can help drive markets higher for one final push. But from a cycle perspective, notice how all of the cycles, be it the stock market, gold, or this half cycle low for Bitcoin, are all due over the next few sessions. So it tells me to keep an open mind about seeing a bit of a sentiment reset, a bit of a flush, a bit of a pullback this week. And then I think it should be party time, assuming we don't have to entertain major tops being in. So I'm your boy Camel. Welcome to the week. Welcome to Monday. And strap in because I think some cycle lows are coming. Until next time, take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.
Camel Finance, he's the man to see. Rocking the markets with his contrarian spree. Trades like a pro, no fear, no shame. Sticking to his guns in his money game. He's a badass, oh yes indeed. Camel Finance got the markets key. Taking us stormies on